the table, let's stand on the table. So it's not straight. On your camera, it's not me, the system.
Okay.
On your camera.
We adjust this.
It's not there. Daniel, this side of the table, push it.
What's that?
Okay.
I think the other side.
Yes.
Push it.
Just
Push
got
it.
it.
How is the end?
Eh,
You have to push it. Stay deep.
Hold on, please.
You can push it
no,
now.
no,
You
no,
have to-
no, don't worry. I'm not.
No,
I know I don't have
Push it back to the wall.
How is this now?
Push it to the reception.
I know I don't have
See?
weight. It's still like.
It's this now, sorry. Push, bring this side out.
Yeah.
Is it better? Huh?
Yes, better.
Are you sure?
Are you sure?
Yeah, it's still
That's not better.
That's
That's
better.
better.
I think it's this side that's supposed to bring up.
And shift down back.
So that's.
The screen work.
The teleprompter. She's using the laptop.
Everybody work.
Oh,
Wisdom. Make a try out. Get my phone here.
look at this. Copy. So.
Let's give you more skills to teach you. That's
Videos.
what me and strength.
Hey.
Just strength, sorry. Nothing about my strength.
Hong Kong firefighters.
This is TVM. TVM delivers breaking stories, global headlines, and the moments that matter. From exciting sports action to exclusive local events, we keep you connected. Celebrate our culture, people, and voices with powerful documentaries and inspiring stories. Experience premium entertainment, from trending music to urban lifestyle and beyond. Grow your spirit with life-changing messages and uplifting perspectives. Lead the way with bold conversations, fresh ideas, and thought-provoking shows. Wherever you are, whenever you want, watch TVM on all your devices. TVM, your world, your network.
Hello, welcome to Global Brief on TVM. I am Blessing Sampson. In Hong Kong, firefighters are searching scorched high-rises for more than 250 missing persons after the city's worst blaze in decades killed at least 55. The fire tore through an 8-building estate with flames still visible after 24 hours. Authorities are probing renovation works and have arrested 3 men tied to foam materials at the site. And some residents reported no fire alarms and had to alert neighbors themselves. Over 900 people spent their night in shelters, and hospitals are treating 61 victims, including 15 in critical conditions, according to reports. A 37-year-old firefighter and 2 Indonesian domestic workers are among the dead, while Hong Kong's leader has ordered immediate inspections of all estates undergoing major work.
Dozens of people are dead and hundreds still missing in the Hong Kong district of Tai Po after a massive fire across several high-rises on Wednesday. That's according to authorities who said more than 12 hours after the fire began, firefighters were struggling to reach the upper floors of the 36-story blocks due to intense heat. 65-year-old Jason Kong lives in one of them and says he was watching his home burn after police barred him from returning, forcing him to leave his 10-year-old dog behind.
One neighbor said he still could not find his wife. Some said they are safe. I know some are still inside the building. Why is there no one saving them? Are we waiting for them? How should we deal with this? I know someone who has young children and elderly people in their family. I called him and he said he was still trapped inside the building.
Hong Kong leader John Lee told reporters a firefighter was among those killed and that 900 people were in shelters.
The priority is to extinguish the fire and rescue the residents who are trapped. The second is to support the injured. The third is to support and recover. Then, we'll launch a thorough investigation.
From the mainland, China's President Xi Jinping urged an all-out effort to extinguish the fire and to minimize casualties and losses, according to China's state broadcaster CCTV. The towers are part of a dense residential complex called Wangfuk Court, which includes 8 blocks and some 2,000 apartments. The cause of the blaze was not immediately known. However, the flames were fanned by the trademark green construction mesh and bamboo scaffolding often seen in casing construction in Hong Kong. The government had begun phasing out bamboo scaffolding in March for safety reasons. Online posts showed that Wangfuk Court had been undergoing renovations for a year. The fire marks Hong Kong's worst since November 1996, when 41 people died in a commercial building in the heart of the city's Kowloon area. That fire was later found to be caused by welding during internal renovations.
In the U.S., 2 National Guard soldiers were critically wounded in what officials called a targeted ambush near the White House on Wednesday. The suspect, Ramanullah Lakamwal, a 29-year-old Afghan national who arrived in the U.S. under Operation Allies Welcome, was shot and arrested at the scene. Authorities say the motive remains unknown and he had no prior criminal history. The attack happened during a high-visibility patrol in downtown Washington. Officials said the suspect acted alone. Both soldiers remain in critical condition. The incident has sparked strong political reaction as President Trump called the shooting an act of terror and ordered 500 additional guard troops into Washington.
So I walked up and I saw they had a person pinned on the ground yelling at him to stay down, and there was broken glass in the bus stop, and then they moved, like it was some sort of construction vehicle or something along those lines, and they moved the vehicle, and that's when we saw two National Guards on the ground, and one they were trying to resuscitate. And then at that point, it was still even a couple of minutes before there was any response. Like they didn't have anything closed off, and it was kind of surreal, to be honest with you. And it took us a couple of minutes to realize how serious the situation was. Well, I mean, I feel terrible for the National Guardmen. I mean, they were ordered to be here. They didn't ask for anything like this. And I'm sure a lot of them would rather not be here to begin with. And, I did see a couple of guardsmen hugging each other that were very, very upset. And, it's hard to see that. One of their colleagues, I guess, was, injured so badly. So I walked up and I saw they had a person pinned on the ground yelling at him to stay down, and there was broken glass in the bus stop, and then they moved, like it was some sort of construction vehicle or something along those lines, and they moved the vehicle, and that's when we saw two National Guards on the ground, and one they were trying to resuscitate. And then at that point, it was still even a couple of minutes before there was any response. Like they didn't have anything closed off, and it was kind of surreal, to be honest with you. And it took us a couple of minutes to realize how serious the situation was. Well, I mean, I feel terrible for the National Guardmen. I mean, they were ordered to be here. They didn't ask for anything like this. And I'm sure a lot of them would rather not be here to begin with. And, I did see a couple of guardsmen hugging each other that were very, very upset. And, it's hard to see that. One of their colleagues, I guess.
In other news, President Donald Trump has called for a full review of all Afghan immigrants who entered the U.S. during Joe Biden's administration, following the shooting of two National Guard members in Washington. In pre-recorded remarks from Florida, Trump described the attack, allegedly carried out by an Afghan national who arrived in 2021, as an act of evil, hatred, and terror, and said the government must re-examine every Afghan admitted other than Joe Biden. And in the UK, long-term net migration to the UK fell to 204,000 in the year to June, down from 649,000 according to new ONS data. The sharp decline was driven by fewer non-EU arrivals for work and study, along with rising immigration. Work-related immigration by non-EU nationals dropped 61%, while study visas fell 25%, following stricter rules introduced last year, including a ban on most students bringing dependents and higher salary thresholds for skilled workers. The Labour government has since tightened immigration policies further, raising visa salary requirements and limiting care worker arrivals as it faces pressure from Reform, UK's anti-immigration platform. Despite the decline, immigration remains a top public concern, with visible small boat arrivals shaping opinion. Still in the UK, UK Finance Minister Rachel Reeves has defended her plan to raise taxes by 26 billion pounds, following 40 billion pounds in hikes last year. She faced criticism after scraping the two-child benefit cap a move conservatives say shifts the burden onto workers. Reeves argued the policy change was necessary and said the tax rises reflect weaker productivity forecasts from the budget watchdog. She rejected claims of returning labor to a high-tax, high-speed model. The Resolution Foundation says Reeves' plans amount to the biggest back-to-back tax increases by a new government in modern history. The OBR expects welfare spending to rise £16 billion by decade's end, while Reeves says more measures to boost growth are coming, insisting the budget maintains fiscal discipline and keep borrowing targets on track. In the Middle East, Israeli forces launched a large-scale raid in the West Bank city of Tubas on Wednesday, taking positions across several neighborhoods and ordering Palestinian residents out of their homes. Tubas governor Ahmed al-Assad said troops backed by helicopter fire were encircling the city, occupying rooftops and making arrests. The Israeli military said the operation carried out with the police and intelligence units followed intelligence about attempts to build militant infrastructure. Dozens of homes were searched and what the military described as an observational control room was discovered. And at least 22 Palestinians have been detained so far, with residents told not to return home until the operation ends. Roadblocks have been set up as Israeli vehicles and heavy armed troops patrol Tubas and near Tammuz. The raid is part of an expanded Israeli campaign across the northern West Bank this year, which has displaced thousands and drowned human rights concerns, and Hamas condemned the latest operation and urged international action. Still in the Middle East, a rocket attack struck a storage tank at a Khor Mor gas field in Iraq's Kurdistan region late Wednesday, forcing a shutdown and causing widespread power cuts. Operator Dana Gas said no casualties were reported. The field, crucial for regional electricity generation, halted gas supplies, but oil output and exports were unaffected. It is the most serious incident since drone attacks in July disrupted regional oil production. While Kurdish officials blamed Iran-backed militias, Iraq Prime Minister Mohammed Shia al-Sudani condemned the strike and agreed with Kurdish leaders to launch a joint investigation. The damaged tank is part of the new U.S. finance facilities under the KM250 expansion project. Firefighters extinguished the blaze early Thursday, but power generation in Kurdistan is expected to drop by about 3,000 megawatts. Dana gas shares fell 1.5% following the attack. In other news, Pope Leo arrived in Turkey on Thursday for his first trip outside Italy, using the visit to call for global peace and greater unity among Christian churches. The first U.S. Pope chose Turkey as a most Muslim nation to mark the 1700th anniversary of the Council of Nicaea, which produced the Nicene Creed. Leo landed in Ankara for a 3-day tour that includes meeting with President Erdogan, visits to major religious sites, and a historic stop in Iznik with Orthodox Patriarch Bartholomew. The trip is seen as the first major test of his geopolitical view since becoming Pope in May. Leo, 70, previously served as a missionary in Peru and became a Vatican official in 2023. He will continue to Lebanon on Sunday, where the security is tight amid rising regional tensions linked to the Gaza conflict. The Vatican says all necessary precautions are in place as the Pope prepares to deliver appeals for peace in the Middle East. In Turkey, the Defense Ministry said Thursday that a ceasefire between Russia and Ukraine must come first before any discussion on deploying troops for a proposed multinational reassurance force. The response follows French President Emmanuel Macron's claim that the mission could include French, British, and Turkish soldiers. Ankara said it remains open to talks, but only if a clear mandate and contribution framework are established. TVM's Global Brief returns after this quick break. Just stay tuned. Welcome back from that quick break. In Bangladesh, a court has sentenced ousted Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina to 21 years in prison for corruption, just a week after she was given the death penalty for crimes against humanity. Hasina, 78, remains in India and has refused to return to face trial. The Anti-Corruption Commission accused her of illegally seizing valuable land in Dhaka. Her children, Sajib and Saima Wazid, received 5-year sentences each. Hasina fled Bangladesh in August 2024 during mass student protests that toppled her government. And officials say they will appeal for harsher punishments. Meanwhile, Bangladesh remains politically unstable with ongoing violence ahead of the 2026 election. Hasina has rejected all charges as politically motivated, while additional corruption cases against her and family members are still underway. In other stories, President Emmanuel Macron has announced a new voluntary youth military service to begin by mid-2026, saying France must prepare for accelerating threats. The 10-month paid program will be open to 18 and 19-year-olds and aimed to recruit 3,000 participants in its first year, rising to 10,000 by 2030 and potentially 50,000 by 2036. Macron said the plan reflects similar moves across Europe as countries respond to shifting US priorities and growing Russian aggression. Participants will serve only on French soil and may later join civilian life, the reserves or the armed forces. France also aims to expand its reservist force to 100,000 by 2030. Macron dismissed speculation that the initiative signals preparations to send French youths to Ukraine, saying such ideas must be immediately dispelled. And in Africa, Guinea-Bissau's opposition is demanding the release of results from Sunday's presidential election after army officers seized power and suspended both counts. The self-declared High Military Command for Restoration of Order announced on Wednesday that it had ousted President Umaru Sissoco Embalo. Provisional results were expected Thursday in the race between Embalo and challenger Fernando Diaz. But soldiers shut down the Electoral Commission and blocked any announcement. Meanwhile, opposition says there is no reason to halt the process and urged the military to respect the constitution. The capital, Bissau, remained tense with soldiers on the streets, closed businesses, and residents staying indoors. Embalo told French media he had been disposed and his whereabouts remains unclear. Diaz accused Embalo of staging a forced coup attempt to derail the election. The opposition also demanded the release of former Prime Minister Domingos Simios Pereira, detained on Wednesday. While Guinea-Bissau, long plagued by coups and cocaine trafficking, has faced renewed instability, regional observers from the AU and ECOWAS expressed deep concern and called for the release of detained electoral officials. And that's all from TVM's Global Brief. I am Blessing Sampson. You can watch us on the Go on TVM's app, accessible on Android Play Store and Apple Store. You can follow us on our social media pages, like, subscribe, and share. And remember, your environment is a part of you. Do keep it clean.
This is TVM. TVM delivers breaking stories, global headlines, and the moments that matter. From exciting sports action to exclusive local events, we keep you connected. Celebrate our culture, people, and voices with powerful documentaries and inspiring stories. Experience premium entertainment, from trending music to urban lifestyle and beyond. Grow your spirit with life-changing messages and uplifting perspectives. Lead the way with bold conversations, fresh ideas, and thought-provoking shows. Wherever you are, whenever you want, watch TVM on all your devices. TVM, your world, your network.